What's up guys, Saulius. So yeah, I'm back again. So we're going to react this one about GTA, not Walking Dead. So we know this episode we talked about part 1. Yeah, we know this is a longer video. So stay tuned for that part 2. Maybe we have to wait a few days. So we're going to react the video about was every best possibly chosen you can make in GTA 5. This would be 25 minutes. This was there's lot misleading or unknown reasons. There's lot. Now, unfortunately, sometimes good ones, sometimes bad ones. So we're going to start video. So, are you ready, video? So let's begin about GTA 5 best to worst choice. So let's see how would be best one or not. So let's continue.
Hi everyone, how is it going? And today we're going to talk about all the best possible choices you can make in GTA 5. To be honest, there aren't many, and they don't affect the plot much, but some will improve your experience. Let's start. Let's start with the mission A Starlight in Vinewood, which is a Strangers and Freaks mission for Franklin. This mission is unlocked after collecting all 50 letter scraps hidden around Los Santos and Blaine County, which reveal the mystery of Leonora Johnson, a starlet who was murdered in 1975 by a famous movie director named Peter Dreyfuss. I talked about this previously too. In this mission, Franklin goes to Dreyfuss's house in Vinewood Hills to confront him about his crime. Dreyfuss is meditating in the backyard and thinks that Franklin is there to perform some sexual favors for him. But when Franklin shows him the letter scraps, he panics and tries to run away. At this point, you have a choice. Either kill or spare Dreyfuss. So, what's the best choice? Well, it depends on your moral compass and your preference. If you kill Dreyfuss, you will get a gold medal for the mission and a sense of justice for Leonora Johnson. You will also get a news report on the radio and a newspaper article that confirm Dreyfuss's death and his link to the murder. However, you will also lose the opportunity to interact with Dreyfuss again, as he has some interesting dialogue and personality. If you spare Dreyfuss, you will not get a gold medal for the mission, and you will let a murderer go free. You will also get a different news report on the radio and a newspaper article that say that Dreyfuss is preparing a comeback and that the rumors of his confession are false. Also, you will also get a chance to meet Dreyfuss again, as he will send you an email thanking you for sparing him and inviting you to his new movie premiere. You can then go to the premiere and talk to him, or even kill him there if you change your mind. Personally, I think the best choice is to kill Dreyfuss, because he deserves to pay for what he did, and because I don't care about his movies or his emails. The next choice you will have is abandonment issues. This is the final therapy session between Michael DeSanta and his shrink, Dr. Isaiah Friedlander, and it gives the player a choice to either kill or spare the doctor after he reveals that he is leaving Los Santos and selling Michael's case notes to a TV show. Talk about betrayal. But before we get into that, let's recap the background of this mission and how it affects Michael's story arc. Abandonment issues is unlocked after completing the mission's legal trouble, reuniting the family, and the Bureau raid. Unlike previous therapy sessions, Dr. Friedlander will not call Michael to announce its availability. An icon will simply appear over his office. It can be completed at any point in the storyline, even after the end of the storyline, which unlocks some unique dialogue. During the session, Dr. Friedlander asks Michael what he wants, to which Michael responds that he wants to be happy with his life, but also wants to continue his life of crime. Friedlander asks Michael what the source of his conflict is, and Michael's answer will depend on the last mission that you did before the session. For example, if you choose to kill Trevor in the final mission, Michael will say that he could not be better, and that he finally retired from crime after wiping Trevor off the face of the planet. However, if the player chooses to save both Trevor and Franklin, Michael will say that he is still in a lot of trouble. Midway through the conversation, you will have a choice to either accept or reject Dr. Friedlander's advice, which is basically to embrace his criminal nature and stop pretending to be a good person. Michael will react differently depending on the choice, either agreeing with the doctor or calling him a fraud. However, the choice does not affect the outcome of the mission, as Dr. Friedlander will soon drop a bombshell on Michael. He is leaving Los Santos and selling Michael's case notes to a TV show for a lot of money. He claims that Michael is a classic borderline and a psychopath, and that he is the most selfish person he has ever met. He also says that he is not afraid of Michael and that he can't help him anymore. This enrages Michael, who feels betrayed and humiliated by his therapist. He chases Dr. Friedlander to the parking lot, where the doctor gets into a car and tries to escape. At this point, the player has another choice: to either kill or spare Dr. Friedlander. If the player chooses to kill him, Michael can either shoot him in the car or chase him to the Del Perro pier and run him over. If the player chooses to spare him, Michael will let him go, but curse him and beg him to stay away from him and his family. So, what are the consequences of this choice? And what choice is really the best, in my opinion? Well, the choice does not have any major impact on the gameplay or the storyline, as Dr. Friedlander is a minor character, and his death or survival does not affect any other missions or events. But the choice does have some minor effects on the game world and the characters' reactions. For example, if the player kills Dr. Friedlander, they will receive a small amount of money, around $2,000, from his body, and they will also hear a news report on the radio about his death, which will mention that he was working on a TV show about a deranged patient. If the player spares Dr. Friedlander, they will not receive any money, and they will also hear a different news report on the radio, which will mention that he left Los Santos and is working on a TV show about a fascinating patient. The choice also affects how Michael's family and friends will react to him. If the player calls Amanda, Jimmy, Tracy, Franklin, or Trevor after the mission, they will have different dialogue depending on whether Dr. Friedlander is alive or dead. For example, if the player kills Dr. Friedlander, Amanda will be shocked and angry and will accuse Michael of being a murderer and a psychopath. She will also say that she regrets moving back in with him, and that she hopes he gets arrested. However, if you spare Dr. Friedlander, Amanda will be more sympathetic and understanding, and will say that she is proud of Michael for not killing him, and that she hopes he can find a better therapist. Similarly, Jimmy, Tracy, Franklin, and Trevor will have different reactions depending on the choice, either expressing concern, disappointment, approval, or indifference. So, what is my opinion on this choice? Well, I think that there is no definitive answer, as both choices have their pros and cons, and it depends on how you view Michael and his character development. On one hand, killing Dr. Friedlander can be seen as satisfying and justified revenge for his betrayal and exploitation of Michael, and as a way of eliminating a potential threat to Michael's reputation and safety. It can also be seen as a way of staying true to Michael's criminal nature and his violent tendencies, and as a way of rejecting Dr. Friedlander's advice and his diagnosis of Michael as a psychopath. On the other hand, sparing Dr. Friedlander can be seen as a sign of mercy and restraint for his former therapist, and as a way of avoiding unnecessary bloodshed and trouble. It can also be seen as a way of accepting Dr. Friedlander's advice and his diagnosis of Michael as a psychopath, as well as a way of acknowledging Michael's flaws and his need for help. Personally, I prefer to spare Dr. Friedlander, as I think that killing him is not worth it, and that it does not solve anything. I think that Michael is not a complete psychopath, but rather a complex and conflicted character who has some redeeming qualities and some potential for change. I think that Michael does care about his family and his friends, and that he does want to be happy and to live a normal life. I think that sparing Dr. Friedlander would show that Michael has some self-control and some morality, and that he is not a mindless killer. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Do you prefer to kill or spare Dr. Friedlander? Why? Let me know in the comments below. The next choice is in the mission Eye in the Sky, where Franklin and Trevor have to work together to steal a rare Z-type car for Devin Weston. This mission can be started by either Trevor or Franklin. If you start as Trevor, you have to go to the Mission Row police station and pretend to be a cop. You will then board a helicopter equipped with a special camera that can scan people's faces and track their movements. If you start as Franklin, you have to wait at the FIB lot until Trevor arrives in the helicopter. The objective of this mission is to find and follow Chad Mulligan, the owner of the Z-Type, and then steal his car. To do this, you have to switch between Trevor and Franklin. Trevor will use the camera to scan the targets and identify Mulligan, while Franklin will follow him on the ground. There are some challenges and choices in this mission that can affect the outcome and the difficulty. For example, you have to listen to 3 conversations while scanning the targets to get the gold medal. You also have to find Mulligan's hiding place on the first attempt. If you fail to do so, he will drive away, and you will have to chase him through the streets, which can be tricky. Another choice you have to make is how to approach Mulligan when he is in his car. You can either use a stun gun to knock him out, or shoot him with a regular gun. The stun gun option is more stealthy and less violent, but it can be harder to aim. The regular gun option is more direct and easier, but it can alert the cops and cause more damage to the car. The final choice you have to make is whether to deliver the car to Devin Weston at the airport or to keep it for yourself. If you deliver the car, you will complete the mission and get paid by Weston, but you will also lose the opportunity to own the Z-Type, which is one of the most expensive and fastest cars in the game. If you keep the car, you will fail the mission and anger Weston, but you will also get to keep the Z-Type in your garage. In my opinion, the best choice is to deliver the car to Weston, because it will advance the story and unlock the next mission, Caida Libre. The Z-Type is a nice car, but it is not worth losing the progress and the money. You can always buy the Z-Type later from the legendary motorsport website if you have enough cash. Now let's look at one of the most memorable missions in the game, Mr. Phillips. This is the first mission where we get to play as Trevor. The mission starts with a cutscene where Franklin visits Michael at his house, and they celebrate their successful heist. However, their conversation is interrupted by Dave Norton, the FIB agent who faked Michael's death and offered him a deal. Dave warns Michael that his involvement in the heist has alerted the FIB and may alert Trevor, his former partner. Michael dismisses this, claiming that Trevor must be dead and denying any involvement in the heist. Meanwhile, in Sandy Shores, Trevor is having some private moments with Ashley Butler, the girlfriend of Johnny Klebitz, the leader of the Lost MC. He overhears the news report about the heist on TV and recognizes Michael's voice. He gets angry and confronts Johnny, who is waiting outside his trailer. Trevor accuses Johnny of betraying him and kills him by smashing his head on the ground. He then orders his associates, Wade and Ron, to get in his truck and declares that they are going to war with the Lost MC. What a psycho, right? The first objective of the mission is to drive to Grapeseed, where Trevor suspects that the Lost MC are hiding. On the way, Trevor explains to Wade and Ron that he used to work with Michael and that he thinks that he is still alive. He also tells them that he hates bikers and that he wants to wipe out the Lost MC. Trevor then kills a bunch of people and finally goes to where Ortega, the leader of the Aztecas, a rival gang, lives. Trevor decides to pay him a visit and push his trailer into the river. Trevor can either kill Ortega or spare him. If Trevor spares Ortega, he will warn him to stay away from his business and that he will come back for him. If Trevor kills Ortega, he will say that he is doing him a favor and that he is the king of the castle. The mission has several choices and consequences, such as whether to kill or spare Ortega, and whether to kill or chase the bikers. These choices will affect the difficulty and outcome of the mission, as well as future interactions with the characters. For example, if Trevor spares Ortega, he will appear later in the game as an enemy and will try to kill Trevor.
Ortega's he not going to kill you. Yes, you will kill you, Travis. You will fail mission. Come on. Why we have to kill Ortega's? He was nothing really to do. But you know why you have to kill him? He was evil. He easily get betrayed, so he would try to kill her Travel. Really, game?
If Trevor kills Ortega, he will eliminate a potential threat, but he will also anger the Aztecas, who will become hostile to him. In my opinion, the best choice for this mission is to kill Ortega and chase the bikers. This way, Trevor will have fewer enemies to deal with. It matches his nature. Now let's take a look at the Strangers and Freaks mission What Lies Beneath, which is the final mission for Abigail Mathers.
Yeah, we know this one, but still sucks. And yeah, we know reason. So yeah, I watched the video without talking. Yeah, I'm sorry. We know I watched the video. Supposed to be how different, but nope. I'm sorry. I will try not to talk to him. How he did say. Well, I skipped it. Sorry about that. And also, this will be long video. This will be part 1 to part 2 to part 3. Of course, this will be longest video by far. So you know, gotta do it. We're gonna end video. So I will say goodbye, Saulius, and see you tomorrow. Okay, have a good night. Peace out. So stay tuned for that. So ciao, everyone.